Good morning, gardeners. I hope everybody's having a great day. It is just before February. I think it's like January 30th. It's 60 degrees right now and drizzly, so at least we're getting some moisture. And I can't tell if it's going to be hot or cold, but that just reminds me that we're getting that much closer to spring. And in the month of February, we really start kicking in our planting, and this is going to be what we plant in the month of February in our garden. I hope you guys can excuse the mess around here. We're undergoing some construction projects around here, but I just wanted to show you quickly that the onion bed is completely planted, and I have noticed a little bit of an issue that I didn't see coming with this. Everything that I've planted this year, I've had a little visitor. I believe that we are on the radar of our little possum friend, and the fertilizer that I put in, it had some blood meal in it, I believe, and I believe that he's trying to dig underneath and get all of it. So I came back the other day and, I mean, check this out. So I told you I was gonna plant, I may plant my kale in January, in which I did, but here's my kale plants. And I mean, he pulled up like every other one, trying to get to whatever's underneath. So I gotta stay on top of it, I guess. And I think it is the fertilizer that is going in the ground. It must smell good, I don't know, but I digress. So what are we planting in February? We're gonna be planting a lot in February, as a matter of fact. And to the best of my ability, I'm gonna try and go in order from the earliest to the end of February. I'm in zone 8A in North Carolina. And so if you're in zone 7, then you could adjust. If you're in zone 9, you may be a little bit behind the curve as far as the times that I'm giving you. But you know, if you're in a different zone, you just adjust by a couple weeks one way or the other, and depending on your weather forecast. So we know that our weather right now, I think this week, in 5 days to be exact, we're gonna have another day that's in like 28 degrees as a low, and then it's going to be 44 degrees as a high. And then after that, for the next week, it's going to be 70s, like high 60s, and then 50s. So that's really our window to try and get things A, hardened off, and B, in the ground. So we'll try and work around that schedule as best as possible. But the first thing we're going to put in is we're going to put in some more cabbage plants. And they can take a frost. So that being said too, everything that we're going to put in can take a frost. And I'm going to show you where I'm going to put my cabbage plants and how I'm going to prepare this bed for the cabbage. This bed is going to get the cabbage plants here, and we're going to put them along this back row here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm just going to put a bag of topsoil down, and then it's supposed to rain off and on this week. So we're probably going to put some alfalfa pellets on top of that just to start getting it to work in a little bit. Slowly but surely. Then we're going to clean this bed out completely, and then we'll start putting in our cabbages along this row, and then the next one's going to be our rutabagas. And this is going to all happen pretty fast, and then we'll probably come back in like a week later and then put in our radishes right here. And before I forget, if you're planting anything in February, let us know in the comments, because other people might want to know what you're planting in your area as well. You can see kind of the order in which it goes. We're going to do cabbages and rutabagas. They go pretty similar in time frame, especially if we're going to get that warm week where they can kind of get in the ground and get established. And then if we do get another cold, in theory, our cold should be getting less and less now, so we shouldn't be getting as severe chills, but it'll get us going in the right direction, and they should be more comfortable in the ground where they are. So then the next thing is going to be broccoli. So in this bed behind me here, not the front one, but the back one, we're going to put a whole back row of broccoli in. And then we're going to put in probably, I'd say about 2 weeks later, maybe like the end of February, we'll put in a row of lettuce. And then at the same time we put the other broccoli, I know it's kind of confusing, we're going to put another row of broccoli. And this bed's going to alternate broccoli, lettuce. And so we'll do it in that order. And then if we want to put in some more collards, we will. But I mean, if I come over here and I look at these collards right now, I don't know if I need to put in any more collards. I mean, check this guy out. I mean, that collard is doing fine. We've got a couple in the greenhouse that are doing really good. So I may not even need to put any collards in. What I'm going to do with those is something a little bit different. Is I'm going to wait and see if we're gonna supposed to get, like, if it gets warm and then it's gonna get cold again and we're gonna kind of get a little chill period, then I may actually put one of my collard plants out just to try and get it to trick it and get it to go to seed so I can collect the seed from it. So we may end up doing that. But this is all, you know, that's another one. It can take a really good cold. And I mean, the kale, I put it out there the other day because if you come over here and look at this one, this kale right here has been through the Arctic blast and it's been eaten off of and partially dug up and all that. And you can see that it's doing fine. So I have zero reservations about putting any more kale plants in at this time, especially with this warm weather that we have coming up. So we're not going to do any more cauliflower just because I kind of get tired of eating cauliflower. I don't like it in a whole lot of ways, but this would be the same time frame we do. So probably about the middle of February, we'll put it in. And then we'll come over here and probably around the middle of February again. And this could be a week earlier. It won't be a week later, but probably could be a week earlier. I'm gonna come back here and put another row of carrots right here. So probably about the middle of February, we'll put another row of carrots in. And then that'll help finish out our year for the carrots. I mean, this is our fall planting, and I haven't even checked to see how they're doing yet. Let's see. Yeah, we're starting to get some little carrots in there. You can barely see it. So as we get warmer, this will start to pick up, and then we may actually end up being able, it may be a couple weeks and we can get some like baby carrots out of this, because it would be nice to just start a whole row and then just be able to restart it and harvest them all at the same time. So that would be the best scenario. And so at the same time, in the middle of February, we're also going to put in some more rutabagas. They will go sporadically in different rows throughout the garden. As of right now, that's subject to change, but we're going to do that. And then at the same time, depending on the weather, I'm thinking we'll be succession sowing radishes at this point. So more and more radishes. And then also turnips. So we'll be doing a couple more turnips at this point as well, because what I did in this bed with the kale, and I'll show you, and this is kind of our little friend that keeps visiting us. I came in and I put in some of the leftover turnips from that 162 tray from the possum situation. You can see where he actually came in and dug it up and it died. So look, I mean, this one's completely out of the ground. So we'll try and get these back in and just see, and we'll let these rest for a little while and see if they can rebound. I mean, we're not getting like super fast growth right now, so it's not that big a deal, but this is the one I've been kind of trying to get in. So we'll see, but if not, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back and we're gonna reseed this whole row right here, and we'll do a double row right here of the turnips. And here's our other culprit. So Shari Dog has been one to get into the garden. What do you think? Is it because of the fertilizer? Are you ashamed of yourself? A quick story about the dog is pretty funny. She'll be walking around and she's brindle colored. So she's kind of camouflaged by nature. And she'll go and she'll stand still. And she'll act like you can't see her. And you're like, dude, I can see you. Like, get out of the garden, I can see you. And I caught her the other day standing on top of my garden in the onion bed, just kind of trying to get to that fertilizer. So I'm gonna have to switch back to some kind of granular fertilizer for now and go back to the drawing board. Then the last but not least that I'm gonna be putting into the garden in February is gonna definitely be my potatoes. So ultimately, if it was up to me, I would put them in the middle of February, but because where I ordered them from, they actually send them to me at a predetermined date when they think it's best for my area. So I'm always a little bit behind, but the price was right, you know what I mean? So I think I would try to order from one place and the shipping was like $30. So I got twice the amount of potatoes and like a quarter of the shipping for less price than the other one. So I don't know. I'm willing to just wait a little bit and deal with that because it's the shipping is ridiculous, but we're going to put in the potatoes. Hopefully we'll get them around the 3rd to last week of February. and then we'll put them in. Ideally, we'll get them in the 3rd week so I can prep them. And when I say prep them, what I'm gonna do is I'll just cut them in half just so I can make it spread a little bit farther. And we'll do a video about that if we get it. But that way we can get more for our money out of these garden beds. And we're gonna do 2 beds. So I'm gonna do one of these beds behind me, and then my son's gonna have one in the wild garden that he's gonna do. So I'm gonna have to spend the next couple weeks just kind of prepping his bed. I'd like to give him a better chance than I have. You know how it is. So we've got some garlic plants, or not garlic, we got some broccoli plants to get out of there. I would really like to leave my cabbages in there. I know I was talking about this in the last video, but if they have to go, they have to go. I mean, I've already told myself that he's gonna get this bed and he's gonna grow potatoes. And I can't think of a better way for him to get started into this whole gardening experience than really getting in there and digging up that golden potato, you know what I mean? So we're gonna work on that. But that's the order in which the plants that we're gonna put in the ground are. Now we're gonna do a whole bunch of seeds and stuff like that. So we'll do the seeds and everything, and I'll take you inside right now and just show you my seed starting shelf real quick. And I'll do another video about that, but I will tell you that I'm gonna start my tomato seeds on Valentine's Day. And so that being said, or around Valentine's Day. So that being said, I'm thinking about going live and just kind of hanging out and doing, you know, planting some seeds. If you guys want to come on and kind of talk or whatever, I'll put a community post up and it'll say what time we'll be there and all that stuff. And you guys are welcome to show up if you want. So we've got to really get our tomato seeds in order, but I'll show you what we've got going on now and then how we're going to rotate everything out. My lettuce here is really starting to take its time, but it's starting now and it's ready for its first fertilizing. So we'll give it that and it should really start to explode. We've got a couple more broccoli plants that are really getting up and going at this point. So they've got their first true leaves. And once they get their first true leaf, then it's kind of off to the races. So the kohlrabi is starting to get its true leaves and the cilantro has come up, which is good. And then I did start my peppers like 3 weeks ago maybe. And so all of these are different peppers and you can barely see, like right here, it's starting to get its true leaf. So we're good, hopefully, as of right now. So these will all start to grow and these take a lot longer than tomatoes. That's why I start them earlier and I would like to have a bigger plant to put out. And then here's some bok choy that we start a whole tray of bok choy. And the interesting about this thing about this is it really took off fast. It took like a day for it to come up. So we're looking to get this in the ground in March, roughly sometime in March, because this is a real short window in our area for bok choy. So hopefully we can make it last till then, and then we can get some of these in the ground. And this entire tray is, again, it's just lettuce. So we eat a lot of lettuce, we sell a lot of lettuce, so it'll be good to have plenty of them. There's 72 here, so we've got like over 100 lettuce seedlings, and we'll probably start another tray of this too at some point. So once one of these other trays, probably the bok choy, comes out, then we'll just refill it with lettuce again and get it going. This is gonna be Brussels sprouts. So none of these have kind of started coming up yet. It's been, I think, 2 or 3 days. So it's not very alarming. They're all on heat mats. I can't shut it. This one is another round of kale. So I've had a lot of people contacting me about kale. I guess kale's back in this year. And then we did a whole tray of Napa cabbage. So we'll do that as well. So the Napa cabbage and bok choy have like really narrow seasons where I live. So we're trying to figure out the timing and get it just right. And we'll do it again in the fall too. It's just about getting it before it gets too hot. I mean, I'm hot and I'm wearing a vest right now. So we'll see what happens. You just got to time it out right. And then back here, we've got a couple more broccoli and cabbages that are all starting to harden off. Got plenty of broccoli to go around. It got a little bit bit by the last frost we had, but not too bad. And then the cabbages are just like, boom, they're gangbusters. So I was kind of digging in here the other day. That's why it's a little jacked up. But we've got plenty of that going on. So February is when everything starts to come together. So we'll do another video here in probably the next week or so about what seeds we're starting, because we're going to start getting into more of our summer seeds at this point and flowers and stuff like that. So we can really start getting on that. And then also how we time. I've also got another tool that I received for Christmas that should hopefully help me seed better. I want to seed a bed with it first before I tell you guys about it, because if it's kind of weird, but if it doesn't work for me, then I'm not going to bring it to you, but it should help. So we're going to do that, but I'll put a community post up about the seed starting event. And if you guys want us to come start seeds along with me or ask questions or whatever, I'll be there. No big deal. And I'm excited, man. February is where it all begins in North Carolina in Zone 8A.